What does choice have to do with our well-being? One time I was mountain biking and I was not in the best shape. The mountains of Lincoln, Nebraska really don't cut it. So as I was going up and down these mountains, I finally, after about 7 miles, I was out. I'd bonked. I sat down and I thought, there's no way I can do anything now. I can't move. I've had it. And then within 10 seconds, I was up and hopping around, jumping around. Why was that? Because I looked down and there was an army of ants racing up my legs like the start of the New York City Marathon. Oftentimes I go through life being motivated by the ants of life instead of by the goodness of life. Apostle Paul writes, "Do you not know that it's God's kindness that's meant to lead you to repentance?" I want that kindness to enable me to make choices in my life, don't you? Enjoy the journey.
I just realized that I was muted. Let's start that again. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this 8 days of focusing on our health. This is an opportunity for us to not just look at exercise or at what we're eating, but at 8 different aspects of health, 8 principles. And I'm looking forward to going through these 8 principles with you these 8 days. Just so it's all clear to you, we will meet Sunday, today, Monday, Tuesday. We'll skip Wednesday, so you can think of hump day as a hump that we're jumping over. We'll meet Thursday, Friday, and then we'll come back. We'll skip Saturday and come back on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So that's our schedule, okay? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And during these 8 days, the focus that we'll have is on the word creation. And so I want us to look at this word creation and look at what each of these letters represents. C is for choice, and that's what we'll be looking at tonight. R is for rest. E is for environment. A is for activity. T is for trust. I is for interpersonal relationships. O is for outlook. There it is, outlook. And N is for nutrition. Now, we won't go in exactly this order because there are a few special guests that I'm going to be inviting to join me, and I'm going to interview them for a few of these days. And so we just have to move some things around so that we can work with their schedules. So just be prepared for a little switch around here and there in this process. Tomorrow, we'll actually be looking at T, trust. Now, I want to share a few more things with you before we get into today's discussion. When it comes to these 8 days, we do have a registration page on our church's website. So if you would like to go there, you can. And you can find the URL right here, athensgasda.org/8 days. And that's where you can find a registration page. Now, why should you register? Here's why you should register. Registering gives us the opportunity to follow up with you later on, and we would really love to do that. We would love to do that because we know I know that this isn't the only time that we're going to be talking about health. We've had other health seminars before, specifically on reversing diabetes, and we're going to have more. And we're going to have seminars that go more in depth on each of these 8 principles. So if you register, we have your information. We will not spam you. We will only communicate with you when it comes to health-related activities, unless you say that we can do more than that. So if you register, we have your information so that we can keep up with you. If you register also, we will be able to share a gift with you. There is a wonderful magazine called Vibrant Life, and anyone who shares their information with us, their address, will be able to share that with you through the mail, and also something else that pertains specifically to what we're doing these 8 days. Now, I want to give you even more reason to show up these 8 days and to invite somebody else to show up these 8 days. Not only do we have special guests, not only do we have invaluable information that gives us a holistic approach to health, but also if you register, if you show up all 8 days, whether or not you register, if you show up all 8 days, we're going to have a special prize just for you. And tomorrow, I will showcase those prizes for you. Now, how will I know that you have shown up every single day? Here's how. While this video is going in live time, some of you are joining us on YouTube, some of you are joining us on Facebook. What I would love for you to do is comment. So go to the comment section right now and just say, I'm here. Okay, just that's as simple as that. Just type in, I'm here. And when we see that, then we will know that you were here each of these 8 days. Okay, now you may catch a replay of this, or you may come back to this at a later time. Will you be considered to? Well, we just have a few special gifts. So this is really just for those watching in live time. More encouragement to schedule this time away from 7 to 7:45. Janet, I see you. Thank you for commenting. You are here. Awesome. So let folks know, and if you invite somebody and they register, you will also get a prize. So we have all these wonderful prizes available directly related to health and bettering our health. And so if you invite somebody and they register, you will get a special prize. Just make sure that you let us know, hey, so-and-so registered and that's my special guest, okay? And you can share that with us in the comments. You can send an email, however you'd like to do that. You can get in touch with us and let us know. So I think those are all of my announcements. Let me just check my notes here. Yeah, so before we get any further, I want you to do something for me. In the comments now, in the comments, I want you to do something. I want you to tell me why you chose to be here tonight. Why have you chosen to be here tonight? Our topic tonight is choice. Right? And you may hear some young voices in the background. And I made a choice to have children. We all make choices. Why have you chosen to join us this evening? Go ahead and write your comments in the comment section, and I'll be back in just a moment. Just going to give you a bit of time to get that done. And there I forgot the mute button again. Thanks, Janet. Um, I was just giving folks an opportunity to write in the comments why they've chosen to be here. And so go ahead, if you haven't already written that down, go ahead and type in the comment section on YouTube or on Facebook Live. Type in why you have chosen to be here today. And then when it comes to this book, if you register and give a $10 donation to our health ministries, you will receive this book. It is a nice thick book full of wonderful content about these 8 principles that spell the word creation. And we'll be using this as we go throughout these 8 days. If you, what was I going to say there? If you have questions, that's it, or even comments during this time, please, by all means, go ahead and type those, write those in the comments, and I will get to those as soon as I can, okay? There is a section in this book that helps us to reinforce the message that we're learning, and this one, and so in each of the sections, in each of the principles that we focus on, we'll have these questions that we get to reflect on. And this helps us, really grow in this particular area. Now, I'm going to read a little bit to you about choice right now. Making healthy choices means choosing the good things in a balanced, moderate way, and avoiding what's harmful. Healthy choices help balance our life. Think of how a radio equalizer works. As we use the equalizer to balance the highs and lows of music, so we can use the power of our choices to avoid extremes. Making good choices requires a balanced approach in all that we do. Even a good thing can be overdone. If a person exercises so much that they don't have time to spend with their family and friends, then the exercise has become out of balance and can cause problems in other areas. You can have too much of a good thing. Have you ever had too much of a good thing? Ice cream comes to my mind. And if we choose to include good things in our lives but fail to eliminate the negative things, we are also doing ourselves a disservice. For example, the benefits of our cardiorespiratory system when we eat oatmeal for breakfast may be minimized or eliminated if we also eat a lot of high cholesterol foods in the same meal. So there's a balance here. When we make healthy lifestyle choices, we will make a difference in how we feel today and improve our long-term health and wellness. And so the chapter goes on to talk about choice and the power of choice. Now, I'd like to get a little bit interactive in this moment with you. Go ahead wherever you are. I'm going to grab my phone so that I can see your comments, particularly those of you who are joining us on YouTube. Go ahead right now in the comments and just jot down what's a choice you made recently. Okay? Go ahead and jot down what's a choice that you've made recently. I know some folks are watching, so I'm waiting for your comments. What's a choice you've made recently? It doesn't have to be a profound choice. It doesn't have to be an earth-shattering choice. What's a choice you've made recently? Like today, I chose to go outside to spend some time in my garden, getting it ready for the season, right? It's spring and some things needed to be moved about and other things needed to be pulled out, like weeds and tossed. There were all these different choices that I was making as I made the choice to be outside. What's a choice? You can share now. Just type it in. What is a choice that you have made in the recent past? Go ahead and jot that down in the comment section. All right? I love that. To get out of bed at 9 a.m. and not go back to sleep. Hey, wonderful choice. And I'm sure you have already reaped the benefits of that choice, right? I am going to read a story. This is about Phineas Gage, and it's not a happy story, unfortunately. He was a railroad foreman. Phineas was working with a tapping iron when the powder underneath exploded, launching the tapping iron through Phineas's head. The iron entered first below his left cheekbone and then exited through the top of his skull, landing 25 to 30 yards behind him. Before the accident, Phineas was known for his high morals and exemplary record as a railroad foreman. After the accident, his moral decline was immediately evident. He became overly emotional and overtly angry. Phineas lost interest in spiritual things, constantly used profanity, and lost respect for social norms and customs. Dr. John Harlow, his physician, stated that the accident destroyed Phineas's equilibrium, or balance, so to speak, between his intellectual faculty and his animal propensities. Phineas's traumatic frontal lobotomy, cost him his personality, his moral standards, and his commitment to family, church, and loved ones. Now, the frontal lobe, I'm sure you may already know this, helps set humans apart from the rest of the animal kingdom. It's this gift that gives us the ability to choose, right? It is in many ways the power center. It is the seat of our will, our choice, and it is also the seat of our judgment, reasoning, social norms, the long-term planning that we do, all of which help us make healthy, life-giving choices. The story of Phineas Gage shows how a compromised frontal lobe can change personality. These changes may be minimal at first, but accumulated over time, they can become significant, life-changing factors. Can you see now how choice affects our long-term happiness, our contentment, our ability to say, I'm doing all right now. Now, we learn, in short, that what we put into our bodies, what we eat, what we drink, what we hear, what we see, all of these things impact our frontal lobe. And we have this choice that God has given us to do things that make this frontal lobe the healthiest space possible. So I'd like for you to do something now. I want you to choose to make a new beginning, right? Choose to have a new beginning. Think about one area of your life that you would like to improve. And today, choose to make one improvement. So, for example, one area of my life that I would like to improve is, speaking of bed and waking up, I'd like to improve my going to sleep time to an earlier time. Traditionally, I'm in bed, I would say, most of the time around 10 to 10:30, somewhere in that zone. Most days it's not any later than that, but I've noticed the great benefits of getting to bed even sooner than 10 o'clock, even 9:30, which for some of us just seems ridiculous, right? Why in the world would I put myself to bed at 9:30? There's so much life still to live. And now with daylight savings time and having sprung forward, I mean, look, it's 7:21 and it's still bright outside, right? You just feel like I can still do things. I can still go places. I can still, make the most of these hours before me. But I have a choice, right? Because I have recognized the benefits of going to bed early, one of which is the ability I then have to wake up early and to do so without an alarm clock. And what I love about waking up early, and when I say early, I'm talking like 5 o'clock or between 5 and 5:30. I've noticed that when I'm able to do that, I'm actually able to get in at least an hour of reading. And one of my goals for the longest time has been to read more. And I've wondered, How do those people do it? Those folks that read a book per month, those folks that at the end of the year, their book list is, like 30 books strong. Who are these people and where in the world do they find this time? Well, as a Christian and based on just how I was raised, I was taught, I learned over time that it's important for us to have time with the Lord in the morning, right? And I believe that it's beneficial for us to sit with Him, to pray, to study His Word, to hear from Him before we move on with our day. And so for the longest time, I beat myself up because I just couldn't get that time in that first period of the morning. Or even if I woke up early, I was just kind of nodding back off to sleep because, I could pray out loud, but, the rest of the family's still sleeping. And so helping myself stay awake and stay alert was difficult. And so I realized, you know what? I can still pray, right? I can still start my day with prayer. Absolutely. But I don't have to get into the Bible study portion of things or the intercessory prayer portion of things until later, right? Just the way that my body and brain, mind work, it's more effective for me to do something else first thing in the morning. So, what is that thing for me? Reading. Already this year, I've read 2 books, which for me is miracle territory. And I'm working on 2 more as we speak. And I'm hoping, I didn't get one crossed off completely for February. I almost did, and then I put it aside. So I need to go back to that, finish it, and then get to these other 2 books that I've already started. But in order to do this, I need to get to bed sooner, right? So that's one area of my life that means so much to me. To be able to read, reading teaches me so much. The books that I read, I just love to learn, and this is an opportunity for me to learn and grow, whether it's a leadership book or something else. It's just really great for me. So the step that I want to take, now I hope you've been thinking about your step as I've been yammering along. What is your step? Go ahead and feel free to share it. But the step that I want to make today is to stop sooner. I always say I want to get to bed early, but I don't stop all the busyness of life soon enough to really get into bed at an earlier time. I don't. I'm doing all the things, the laundry, the Facebooking, I might be doing some cleaning or something else. And then, oh no, it's 9 o'clock. Oh no, it's 9:30. And I'm trying to get there. And finally it's 10 o'clock. And I'm just like, okay, fine, and it's not a calm transition. It doesn't work really well. So I want to promise myself to stop sooner today. That's my goal, folks. I'm going to stop sooner. What is that time that I'm going to stop? This is a rough one, but I'm going to say that I'm going to stop at 8:45. 8:45 is my cutoff. Whatever I'm doing at 8:45, I need to stop. Go to the bathroom, wash my face, brush my teeth, get the to-bed routine moving so that transition can be smooth. And then ideally, tomorrow morning, Monday morning, I'm going to start the day nice, bright and early with a book in hand, learning, growing, and impacting positively that frontal lobe based on what I'm exposing myself to. And so I want to encourage you, if you haven't already thought of something that you want to change, that one thing in order to have a new beginning, I want to encourage you to take some time to do that. It doesn't have to be huge, right? It doesn't have to be earth-shattering. This can be, let's see, what's a really small step that somebody may think is not important? Maybe you need to start, well, I thought of flossing because it's not my favorite. But maybe that's what you need to do. And you just think, that's not really a big deal. It is a big deal because, dental health is a big deal. So that could be your thing. It's not too small, right? Maybe the change that you want to make is saying hello to your neighbors. Maybe you always see them, but you just kind of smile, but you don't talk. That may feel like a bigger change, right? That may feel like a bigger choice shift. Something else that may be small, picking up after yourself. Maybe you're so tired of living in a mess, and if you were to see my desk right now, yeah. So maybe your small step is to remind yourself, after everything I do, I need to put everything away. Okay? There's no such thing as a too small step, right? There may be some big steps that may be a little bit unreasonable because of just how big they are. But whatever step it is that you choose to take, whatever this new beginning is that you're seeking after, choose one thing today, one area where you can make an improvement, and go from there, okay? In the book of John, chapter 10, verse 10, Jesus says, I have come that you may have life. And the Greek word for life is Zoe or Zoe. We know many a young woman or an older woman named Zoe. It means life. And it's understood to mean life as God has it, right? It's not just any old kind of life. This is God's sort of living. So take a moment and consider the life you have now. Okay, think about it. What is the life you have now? And compare it with Zoe. Compare it with God's life, a life that He longs to share with you. Wherever you are today, you're one choice away from a new beginning. Literally, one choice away from a new beginning. It's that simple. From a new you, a new creation through the power of our Creator. And as we close out this first section, dwell on the thoughts below. Okay? Here are some thoughts that I want you to dwell on. So when it comes to C, choice, we have the power to choose God's life, right? The life that God desires. When it comes to rest, we get to enjoy nature's sweet restorer. When it comes to the environment, we get to choose an environment that we will flourish in. With activity, we choose activity for growth and strength. See, with each of these words, there is a choice factor. When it comes to T, trust in God, we choose to trust in God and His wisdom given at creation, a balance of the principles of creation. We choose to connect through interpersonal relationships. We choose this, right? O, we choose to have an outlook on life that reflects the Creator's love. And N, choose to eat God's bounty, enjoy the nutrition of Eden. Like I said, tomorrow, instead of focusing on rest, we're actually going to focus on trust. And we'll hear from someone who I'm excited to call a friend. Her name is Sherry Smith. And she's a pastor, recently retired, but has such wisdom to share. And I have always loved learning from her, and I know you will too. And she's going to focus on this topic of trust in God. And so we get to choose to trust. And I know that when I interview Sherry tomorrow, you will learn from her experience in a really profound way. And you'll be encouraged to trust in God in ways that you haven't already put your trust in Him. Okay? Now, like I said, at the end of each of these chapters, there are some skill builders, they're called, to help us reinforce the message of the day. So today's message is what? Choice. Okay? Choice. And just as a reminder, if you have chosen, right? Hopefully no one's forced you to join this live, but you have chosen to be here. So be sure that I know that you are here during the live session and comment, all right? So either say, I'm here, or in the comments, let me know why you chose to come today, why you chose to tune in. So whether you're on Facebook Live or on YouTube, be sure to put that in the comments, okay? Let me know, because if you're here all 8 days, then you'll be able to get a special prize. And I would love to give out as many of these prizes as possible. So Let's do that. Make that choice today. So we're going to reinforce the message. So this is a time when you can grab a pen and paper. And as I'm going to give you a couple of moments to do that, as I just check and make sure that if anyone has added any comments to our YouTube stream, just want to make sure that I have those at my fingertips as well. Okay, so I'm just going to check that quickly to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, not missing anything. Awesome. But be sure, wherever you're watching, let me know you're here so that I can count this toward your 8-day goal. And you'll get a really great, and when I say this is a great prize, it really is. That's not fluff. Okay, so here we go. Here's our skill builder. This is thinking out of the box. Learn to be creative and see available choices. The reality of choices is that sometimes we can't see what's available to us. We think we're trapped in something. We think maybe, like for myself, for the longest time, I have felt like, I just don't have discipline. I marvel at people like my husband who are able to really structure their time well and do the same thing at the same time with the same rhythm, and not that other people don't get tired of such discipline. I'm sure they do at some points, but I've always admired that, but not felt like I can do that. And so if you were to ask me to say, well, how can you improve your discipline, Michaela? I would probably normally say, I don't think I can. I'm just not cut out to be so disciplined, right? Maybe I haven't matured enough yet. So we have an opportunity now to learn to be creative and see the choices that are available to us. Okay. So instead of saying, I don't have any choices, or I don't have any choice, healthy living helps us to exercise our ability to choose and to choose creatively, to think outside the box. Okay. So let's do an exercise that will help us do this and see more of the options that are before us. So here's where you can pull out your pen and paper, and I want you to write on that piece of paper, situation or dilemma that I am facing. Okay. What's a situation or dilemma that you are facing? I want you to write that out. Okay. Situation or dilemma that you are facing. Okay, what's a situation or a dilemma that you are facing? All right, now that you have that written down, you're going to write out 3 options, okay? Option 1, option 2, and option 3. Okay? So, and whatever your situation is, you don't have to share that with me, so you can get as personal as you feel comfortable getting, because this is just you and the Lord paying attention to this right now. So think of this situation, then write down at least 3 different possible courses of action, okay? If you're having trouble thinking of 3, then ask someone to help you out. Maybe there's someone you can text right now, or maybe wherever you live, there's somebody you can nudge right now and say, hey, here's my dilemma, here's my situation that I'm facing. What do you think is a possible option? Okay. Now remember that sometimes unpleasant choices must be considered along with the pleasant ones. Okay. So for me, honestly, stopping what I'm doing feels like an unpleasant choice. In order to get to bed earlier, right? Like I said earlier, stopping what I'm doing, putting the stuff away, whatever it may be, at 8:45, that feels like, why? Come on, I should be able to maximize my time. But there may be something else that feels even more unpleasant to you, a choice that is an option that feels even more unpleasant to you. What is that choice? Okay, so figure out your 3 options. What are your options? Okay, now just by jotting down these 3 options, you have given yourself the ability to make some great movement, right? We talked earlier about having a new beginning and figuring out one thing you can do toward that new beginning, right? So as you think about your three options, and as you jot them down, there's power in putting pen to paper or pencil to paper and writing. There's something truly that happens when we write with our hand versus typing. So I encourage you to get that pen out and make that connection with your brain. And then figure out, okay, what are my three options? So here's an example for you if you're still struggling. It's Monday afternoon and my boss wants a report done by tomorrow morning. The report will take about 6 hours to complete. Okay, this is a dilemma. It's Monday afternoon. My boss wants a report done by tomorrow morning, and the report will take about 6 hours to complete. Okay, so if it's afternoon, that means it's noon or after. And if it's going to take 6 hours, that means, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like, you're going to be at work until 6 o'clock. Well, at lunchtime, maybe folks were eating, so that's not when you heard from your boss. Maybe you heard from your boss actually at about 1:30. You do the math, right? This is causing you to stay later at work. So here's your dilemma. Option number 1, ask a colleague for help and split the report writing with them to reduce the amount of time I have to spend on it. That's a great option, right? Find that colleague who can split the work with you. Another option, negotiate with my boss for more time. Complete report by tomorrow afternoon instead of tomorrow morning. Oftentimes in a work environment, we don't feel as if we have the ability to say, actually, boss, can I do things this way? We don't feel that sense of agency. We feel as though, man, I'm just stuck. Whatever the boss says, that's what I've got to do. But is it maybe an option to ask your boss for a different deadline? Option number 3, ask or pay somebody else to do the report for me. That may really be an option. This may be the sort of work that you can fully outsource, okay? So you may need to pay someone to do it, or maybe you can hand it off to somebody else. Maybe a colleague is working on another report that's due at a later date, and they're willing to jump in and spend the time on your report, and so they've switched reports with you. That's a possibility, right? So now this person, you, if this is your situation, you have these 3 options, okay? So another option, another everyday example to help you think. I can't get my family together at the table for a meal. Now, I imagine this really being a struggle for a family with maybe teenagers, or where, everyone has a later schedule. And so, you want to get everyone at the table for at least one meal. Can we just do breakfast together? Can we just do supper together? Option 1, consult with everyone's schedule to plan a meal together 2 weeks from now. So think in advance, right? Plan for the future by looking at everyone's schedule. Option number 2, consider reducing the amount of extracurricular activities the kids are involved in so that they have more time for family. My kids are young, so I have yet to hit that place where I feel as though my kids are too involved in things. But I imagine that day may come, and I've seen it happen for other parents, and there's an exhaustion. Is it possible to pull back on some of those activities? Option number 3, entice my family by letting them know ahead of time that I'm making their favorite foods and presenting the meal attractively. Okay, this may be the thing that you need, right? My family can't get together, so here's another option, an option to say, I'm going to make your favorite foods, everyone. Can you imagine? My husband's the cook in our house, and I can just imagine him telling myself and our 2 kids, hey, what's your favorite meal? This is what I'm making. Let's make sure we're at the table. I would be there. I would stop my work, and I would make sure to be there. So this is an example of thinking outside of the box, of learning to be creative as you think of available choices. More than likely, there are choices available to you that you have not explored. Remember to tap into a friend's wisdom, a family member's wisdom, someone you trust to be honest with you and to not just agree with everything that you say. That can be invaluable as you consider what your 3 options may be. Now, there's another step in this that, there's much more to this. And if you have the book, and I encourage you to do so, to get the book through registration, you can do more of these, but I'm just going to focus on one more thing here. It says, try to develop the habit of always recognizing that you always have at least 3 choices in any situation. And then cultivate your ability to find as many of them as you can and explore the merits of each before choosing. Okay? Try to develop this habit, especially when the issue, the situation, the dilemma is really, really difficult, really, really challenging. Force yourself to pause and say, okay, what are my 3 options? And then, after you've made this decision, after you've gone through this process of figuring out your choices, jot this down on your piece of paper. Describe how this impacted you. How has this impacted you just going through this activity of writing out your situation or dilemma and then figuring out your 3 choices? How has that impacted you? And by impacted, how has it made you feel? What new insight has it given to you about yourself? Just give yourself some feedback on how this exercise has been for you. Now, we have just a couple of minutes left before we're wrapping up for today's session. I want to encourage you as you go through these 8 days to truly put things into practice, right? Because every day we have choices to make. And so you literally, before you even go to bed tonight, can do this exercise. Okay? It doesn't have to be a challenging situation that you do this for. In fact, you may want to start with something that's really simple or that doesn't have any weight to it. And so you can practice each of these principles you can put into place at some level right away. And that's one thing I love about this. So I encourage you, go ahead tonight before you go to bed and figure out this if you haven't already. And then another great step, maybe to share it with somebody. Let them know what you've been experiencing, the choice you've made, and how it has blessed your life. I'm going to wrap us up today by just playing again the video that I played at the beginning. I think it will be a blessing to you.
What does choice have to do with our well-being? One time I was mountain biking, and I was not in the best shape. The mountains of Lincoln, Nebraska really don't cut it. So, as I was going up and down these mountains, I finally, after about 7 miles, I was out. I'd bonked. I sat down and I thought, there's no way I can do anything now. I can't move. I've had it. And then within 10 seconds, I was up and hopping around, jumping around. Why was that? Because I looked down and there was an army of ants racing up my legs like the start of the New York City Marathon. Oftentimes I go through life being motivated by the ants of life instead of by the goodness of life. Apostle Paul writes, "Do you not know that it's God's kindness that's meant to lead you to repentance?" I want that kindness to enable me to make choices in my life, don't you? Enjoy the journey.
Enjoy the journey. We'll see you tomorrow.